Today's ancient witness comes from the book of Matthew, chapter 2, verses 1 through 12. After Jesus' birth, which happened in Bethlehem of Judea during the reign of Herod, astrologers from the east arrived in Jerusalem and asked, "Where is the newborn ruler of the Jews? We observed his star at its rising and have come to pay homage." At this news, Herod became greatly disturbed, as did all of Jerusalem. Summoning all the chief priests and religious scholars of the people, he asked them where the Messiah was to be born. "In Bethlehem of Judea," they informed him. "Here is what the prophet has written. And you, Bethlehem, land of Judah, are by no means least among the leaders of Judah, since from you will come a ruler who is to shepherd my people Israel." Herod called the astrologers aside and found out from them the exact time of the star's appearance. Then he sent them to Bethlehem after having instructed them, "Go and get detailed information about the child. When you have found him, report back to me so that I can go and offer homage too." After their audience with the ruler, they set out. The star, which they had observed at its rising, went ahead of them until it came to a standstill over the place where the child lay. They were overjoyed at seeing the star, and upon entering the house, found the child with Mary, his mother. They knelt down and paid homage. Then they opened their coffers and presented the child with gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. They were warned in a dream not to return to Herod, so they returned to their own country by another route.
Thank you for that reading, Bill. One of the things that I have embraced since moving to Pullman is darkness. If you can't beat them, join them, right? Well, not quite that. It's more of embracing a bit of advice given to me by some of the loving people in this blessed congregation. So thank you for that, by the way. You see, what I wasn't quite ready for, or maybe better said, something that I did not fully understand was just how long the nights were going to last here, both daily and as on the season. You may have heard me mention on more than one occasion just how long the sun stayed out over the course of the summer. I hope I didn't bore you with that. I was the only one having that problem, by the way. And, but being a geographer, I knew that had everything to do with latitude and elevation, I suppose. And I also suppose it was my own way of grieving what I left behind. And so a few weeks ago, I decided to embrace the dark season, my own little Advent epiphany, if there is such a thing as that. And when I did find myself in appreciation of what comes with it, what comes with that embrace of darkness. You know, things like sleep and the northern lights, we saw those, right? And stars, the night sky, and so much more. Now, that's not entirely new for me. I grew up going to the planetarium. The local college in my hometown featured one. There, I could see the night sky and dream of life beyond the ordinary, a life beyond what I knew. And I remember being overwhelmed at the vastness of space and the vastness of the cosmos. It was so amazing. It seemed so far away from me, yet close at the same time. A little hard to explain, but I think we're good at holding two things together. So for me, it was a way to connect to astrophysicists of the time. It was also a way to connect to the ancient navigators of old, to be guided by what they saw on their journeys. And I usually try to do those particular shows when I visit planetariums in Hawaii or San Francisco and learn about the ancient routes traveled and journey with them as they followed the stars in the night sky. So, speaking of navigators, the Magi in our gospel story were ancient navigators too. They were sky gazers originally from Persia or present-day Iran, and they spent their nights looking up and thinking far beyond where they were. They looked for things like stars and planets and comets, maybe even galaxies too. I'm sure they marveled at the Milky Way. We could say they were scholars who studied the stars. And for them, the stars were glimpses into the heavens and the divine. It was their ordinary world, so to speak. And I don't think they had any ideas about space-time and about gravity and the presence of black holes. They were certainly not Albert Einstein or J. Robert Oppenheimer or Paul Davies, wise folks expanding our ideas of the known universe, maybe even a Guy Worthy. However, not unlike astrophysicists of today, they did recognize a certain order to the universe. They understood that the night sky revolved around the earth in a certain order and predictable pattern throughout the seasons of the year. They understood that comets came through every so often. And not unlike Albert Einstein, they did understand that peering into or studying the night sky is a way to glimpse into the mind of God. That there is a certain order to the universe, that the divine creator was up to something. And so with careful and patient study, the Magi studied their star charts. And one day, a new star appeared in the night sky. Now, some scholars say it was a comet, and some even say it was the alignment of the planets that they saw. There was a particular event at that time. But either way, this celestial occurrence was something out of the ordinary. And interestingly enough, only the Magi noticed this event among the thousands of other stars visible in the night sky. Or at least the story goes. And this particular time, the Magi did not simply admire and study the star, but they determined themselves to follow it, even to the point of resistance and resisting the powers that be. They were determined to follow the signs they were given to wherever it led them, to whomever it led them, and whatever it led them. And so this star shining bright in the sky guided their way across a distant land to the house of a humble family, a child, and a small town populated by ordinary people. There they found a sense of the divine that longed to be with creation, that longed to experience community, and longed to be alive like us and to bring healing. It's not always easy to see that, though. And if you're like me, then sometimes you find having trouble or finding God. Sometimes we have trouble finding God, and it's like there is a certain hiddenness to God. But what I have found through patient contemplation is that God is always there under the surface, working in you and in me and in creation. And God is there ready to lead us into wholeness. We just often overlook these manifestations of the divine. And what the Magi found on their journey was a new way that God showed forth in their lives, and a new way that God was revealing God's self present in creation. The Magi were led to the Holy One through the tools of their own spiritual context. They read the night sky and listened to the holy wisdom being revealed in their dreams. And since our beginning, God has been sharing God's self with us, revealing who they are through many forms, such as the creation and the cosmos, through ancient stories, through passions, and through caring relationships. And we are a part of those stories. We contribute to those stories as God speaks to and guides us, leading us into the journey of creation. We are, in a sense, co-authoring with God. And the Magi noticed a star far, far away and set out to follow it. And the vast majority of their journey was about longing for a closeness and seeking out something far away. And so it speaks that Christmas is a time of yearning, and it's a glimpse of a journey yet to be traveled. That Jesus comes to bridge that distance, to reconcile, to show us the way. But Jesus' birth is only the beginning. Now, for the past 2 weeks, I have been using Christmas lights, and only Christmas lights and candles and lamps to light my apartment. That's another bit of advice from dear friends. I found it to be quite liberating from a restless mind at bedtime. Not only that, but for the past 2 weeks, I've also been going on daily walks. I plan my whole day around them, and I find approaching it that way, it is much easier to work that practice in, to be able to get that done. Sometimes I listen to music on these walks, sometimes a podcast, and sometimes nothing at all. And I've been doing that for about an hour each day, and a new route each day. It's become a spiritual practice for me. And through these walks, I'm able to clear my head and think more clearly about certain things, sort of release some ambiguity. And if I walk on campus at night, I'm especially treated to the glow that emanates from the greenhouses on the east side of campus. Sure, well, you staff are very familiar with that. I discovered those by accident. Who knew I could embrace the darkness and feel better too? And why wouldn't it be that way? Scientists have known that darkness can contribute to mindfulness and creativity and be a space where imaginations can flow more freely. But to get back to the story, God is not just in the stars and the sky, but in the trees and the water and all throughout creation. And if we become open to the divine around us, where, I wonder, might that lead? Perhaps to a place of shared hopes and dreams that maybe if we look up, look within, and look around, we might find God calling us. Because God often arrives in hidden, often overlooked ways. So I wonder, what is it about the divine that excites you and helps to make you feel alive? Perhaps like the stargazers, you might just find God in the ordinary. My friends, the story of God is a sacred telling of the ordinary wonders of life, of miracles birthed in the dark of night, of guiding wisdom lifted to us like the soft light of a star. And this story of hope, although ancient, is still unfolding. It is a holy and bewildering story, but one that holds us in the infinite mysteries of cosmic love, from which each of us are born and to which each of us will return. So take heart, beloveds, and look to the earth's heavens with awe. Look to the face of your neighbor with care. Look to the flesh of your own precious life, all made of stardust, all woven into this story. So in closing, may we find a new world of abundance, a new world of mutuality, and a new world of love. May we find light when illumination is necessary or helpful. And may we embrace the blessed rest that the darkness offers as we recognize and declare both good. May we be enlightened to the glory of God. Thanks be to God. Amen.